Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh Shai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh Shai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh Shai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh Shai. This is Ayah Shatad from Men of Valor Las Vegas Camp coming to you today with a lesson. All right. But first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth, 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, to the Bayashadabadad, the house of David, of the hopeful elect men, Lord willing be of that number. All right. Once again, this is Men of Valor, Las Vegas Camp, Ayashatan. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the topic in the lesson we want to talk about. All right. So we're going to start off in the book of Genesis. This is going to be chapter 25 and verse 21. And it reads, And Isaac entreated Yahweh with Salakia. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. All right. So Isaac's wife couldn't have children at the time. She was barren. All right. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. All right. So this is an account about Esau and Jacob. All right. But really want to get into Esau and focus on Esau, because Esau, Edom, would be the so-called white man today. All right. And as we know, not anybody's not white nor black. Okay. And we'll find that out through these scriptures. All right. But let me go ahead and continue. And this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 23. And it reads, And Yahweh said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. All right. So even though Esau is Jacob's twin brother, he's the elder twin brother, we are still two different nations. All right. We might carry we have the same parents and carry that, but we are two different nations in its entirety. Okay. Continue to read. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right. So one manner of people, which typically, naturally, is Israel. All right. Which is the 12 tribes of Israel, typically is stronger than Esau, Edom. Okay. Continuing on, verse 24. And when her days be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. All right. So there was twins. Once again, those two manner of people. All right. Verse 25. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. All right. And that name Esau, Salakia, means wasted away. All right. Because at this time, this was not a common thing. All right. Esau had no pigment in his skin. All right. Salakia. So he had no pigment in his skin. So Esau also had a brother, because remember, there was twins in the womb. All right. And to continue on, I'm going to go to verse 26. And after that manner, his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. All right. So Jacob is the twin brother, which, if your father line goes back to so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Seminole Indians, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, Mexicans, Uruguay, all right, you would be the 12 tribes of Israel. Your father line goes back to the 12 tribes. You would be Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's chosen people. All right. jumping down to verse 30, and it reads, And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. All right? So what happened is Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. All right? He sold his birthright to Jacob because he was hungry. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and read it. I'm going to start at 29 and I'm going to read that over. All right? So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 29, and it reads, And Jacob's and Slakia, and Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Continuing on to verse 31. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. All right? So it was already foretold that the elder will serve the younger. All right? And so Jacob said, Sell me your birthright if you would like me to give you this food. All right? Going on to verse 32. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and that profit, Slakia, what profit shall this birthright do to me? All right, because there was a custom in that time that the elders received the birthright. All right, it was that's the custom. All right, but yet Esau despised. All right, he despised his birthright. Let me continue it on to verse 33, and it reads, And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. All right, so Esau sold his birthright unto Jacob, and then later on end up complaining about it. And we'll get a little bit more into that. All right, let me continue it on to verse 34. And this is Exodus chapter 25 and verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage, pottage of lentils, all right? And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright, all right? So Esau knew the benefits of his birthright, all right? He knew that being the eldest, he would get the easiest said, lion's share, all right? Because it was his right from being the eldest child. But yet he still despised his birthright, okay? And Salakia, he despised his birthright. But remember, it was foretold by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, that the elder will serve the younger, okay? Let's go ahead and let's go to Genesis. Let's jump over to chapter 27. And matter of fact, let's go to chapter 27. And let's start in verse 4. And it reads, Slakia. Let's actually start on verse 2. So this is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 2, and it reads, And he said, Behold, now I am old. Salakia. Salakia. All right, let's go ahead and this would be Genesis. Let's start at chapter 27, and let's start at verse 1. And it reads, And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. All right, so Isaac called Esau in the room, all right, and continuing on to read. And he said, Behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now, therefore, take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out in the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. All right? So, Isaac, our forefather Isaac, told Esau to go out to the field and get him some meat so he may eat of his savory meat. All right? But continuing on and to read the account, what exactly happened. Now, if you can remember back in chapter Slakia, in chapter 25, he had told him, all right, Esau was born, and that Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. All right. So continuing on, just remember that. Continuing on, this is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 5. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. All right. So going on to verse 6. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. All right, so Rebekah, remember, was entreated of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, that there was two nations in her womb. All right, and that the elder would serve the younger. So this was a prophecy that was already told by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Most High, Yahweh. All right, and that she knew that the elder would serve the younger. Continuing on to verse 7. Genesis chapter 27 and verse 7. Bring me venison and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goat, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. All right. So his mother Rebekah, all right, helped and gave him a decree that he should obey her. All right, and Rebekah told Jacob to go ahead and get 2 goats. All right, Salakia. Verse Genesis chapter 27 and verse 10. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. All right. So she already had been told from Yahweh that there would be a blessing. All right. The elder would serve the younger. All right. And this is the manner that it would be, because there's 2 nations in her womb. All right. And so she is doing what the Spirit put on her to do. All right. And remember that Esau already sold the birthright to Jacob. All right. Continuing on. And this is Genesis 27, chapter 27, verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father, Slakia, my father peradventure will fill me, and I shall see, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. All right. Continuing on to verse 13. And his mother said unto him, Upon me thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. All right. So she said, despise all that. Despite all that, I'm giving you a decree basically as your mother to do this. Now go and do it. All right. Continuing on. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and she Slaki, and his mother made savory meat such as father loved. All right. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had it on her spirit to make the meat for Jacob to go in to feed Isaac. All right, such as he loved. All right, and um, thus Jacob ended up getting the blessing. Okay, and if you can read more into this account about that, so you can read more into this account, but this is really focusing on Esau, Edom. All right. So let me continue on. Let's go ahead and jump down from, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and let's jump down to verse 38. And it reads, And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Salakia. Let's actually go to 34, Salakia. Let's start at 34. And it reads, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 34. And it reads, And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. All right? So Esau's crying for a blessing that he had already sold. He sold his birthright, and he was already trying to be a deceiver and go and get his birthright, even though he had already sold it unto him. All right? Continuing on. Verse 36. This is once again Genesis chapter 27 and verse 36. And he said, Is not thy rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. All right? So, Salakia, he took away his birthright and his blessing. All right? Which he didn't take away his birthright. His birthright was, he sold his birthright. All right? So, Esau is lying right there. Continuing on, and he said, Has thou not, Slakia, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him the Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and with wine have I substance, Slakia, sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto him, unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. All right, so Esau was crying at this time because there was nothing for him. He had sold his birthright, and he had lost his blessing due to Jacob. All right, so Esau's crying and weeping at this time, and he says, And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be, the fatness of the earth and of the dews of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Yahweh gave Esau the blessing. All right. blessed him through Isaac and gave him the blessing of the sword. Okay? Gave him the blessing of the sword. Now, Salakia, going into verse 41, and it reads, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right. So this right here is just an account. I just wanted to go into this a little bit, why Esau Edom has this hatred for Jacob. Abaratazah, I will be able to do another lesson on this, but I just wanted to make that point right now. Lord willing, it was edifying to the body. I want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity. To the men, women, and children learning, and to the Bayash Debadad, House of David, Abaratazah would be of that number. All right, this is Ayash Tad from Man of Valor, Las Vegas Camp. Till the next time, Shalom.